Oh no, you just flushed your toilet and guess what? It's not filling up with water. Has this ever happened to you before? What do you do when it happens here? Doesn't that just make you mad? You flush the toilet, it flushes okay, but it's not filling up with the water. Okay, so today we're going to show you two possible solutions on how to fix this, and they both involve this fill valve right here. And so one of them will be trying to fix the fill valve, and if we can't fix it for you, then we're going to show you how to replace the entire fill valve assembly. And it starts right now. So this is what typically happens. You know, you'll flush the toilet and it just seems like it's not enough water coming in to fill up the tank. It's like there's something wrong in there, like maybe the inside of your fill valve here is clogged with something. So as a first step, we're going to show you how to open this up right now and unclog whatever's in there clogging it. So the first thing we have to do is we got to turn off the water so that we can remove the top of that fill valve without water shooting up all over us. So we have to turn off that water pressure there and then try to flush out whatever water is left. Okay, so what we have to do to take this top off is we come up underneath the float and we hold the float with our hand. See how it's going up and down here? So we go up and hold it in the up position, and then I use my hand to grab around the big stem to hold it steady so it won't move, so that I can come right back up here, and with my thumb against the lever here, I'm going to turn it a little bit, enough to loosen it, see? And it pops the lid off, right? So normally we would just kind of dangle this off to the side, and we want to concentrate on this little area right here. We don't see anything here, but what we're going to do is turn on the water now and make it gush back up. But to keep it from spraying all over the place here, I've enlisted the help of the Miami Dolphins here, who are going to work with us today here. And the way they've been playing lately, unfortunately, the toilet bowl is the only bowl they're going to be in this year. But we're going to put the cup right here, and I'll turn the water back on down below, and it'll make this gush up, and anything that's in there that's clogging it might shoot out. So here we go. We're going to turn the water back on. So you can see how it's gushing right now. So if there's anything clogged in there, all you need is a few seconds there. If there was anything clogged in there, it would get rid of it. Okay. So now all we have to do is put everything back the way it was when we found it. We'll put the lid cap back on top there. I have to get back underneath and hold it and snap it back into place like that. So now he's all in place there, and I can turn the water back on again. And we'll let it fill up and we'll see. You still have to run it through one or two flushes just to make sure. Because just because we went through all of this doesn't mean we cleared whatever is clogging this, if it is indeed a clog. It might be something wrong deep down inside the valve that couldn't get freed. And so we'll know once we flush it whether it's going to work or not. Okay, so now we're going to do a test flush and see if it fills back up. So once again, you can see we had a successful flush, but yet it's not filling back up. It's just trickling. You can hear it just barely trickling, and then down at the bottom there you can see it's not doing much of anything back there. So now it looks like we probably do have a faulty fill valve, and we're going to change this fill valve right now. So we have to turn the water back off, and we'll start to disassemble it. We'll show you how to do that. Okay, so now we're going to use a syringe here to get the rest of the water out. You can also use your wet vac. If you have a shop vac that can suck out water, you can use that as well. But we need to have this bowl have no water in it, the tank rather. The tank has to have no water in it. Because when we go to remove the apparatus out of the bottom there on the left, you need to get rid of all the water. It has to be dry, otherwise water is going to come oozing everywhere. Now if you have a pan down below, you can do that method too. Just let the water come out and let it run into your pan. Okay, so now I'm going to loosen the nut here by hand with the wrench. With my channel locks, I am going to loosen the nut here. So then that's loosened, you can just do the rest by hand. And you're going to have a little bit of water spillage, no big deal. Okay, so this white nut right here is what we have to loosen. That's what's securing the Fluidmaster fill valve here onto the toilet. So let's go ahead and loosen that. Make sure we can loosen it all the rest of the way now. Okay, so we're going to pull up the hole. The old flush valve is now up and out, and we unplugged the little hose there too. So there is the flush valve, the old one. Now this is a 13-year-old flush valve, so it's not too out of bounds to think that you're going to have to replace it after 13 years. Here we have the new Fluidmaster toilet fill valve, and this kit also comes with a new flapper. It's always a good idea to change your flapper. We usually end up having to change our flapper probably once a year. The flappers just don't seem to last before they start leaking, and you'll hear your toilet trying to flush again on its own. So let's go ahead and get this installed. I will put a link to this down in the description for this. So you can see the new one is shorter than the older one, see? So we're going to adjust the length of it by twisting the bottom of it here until it comes out and it telescopes in length there. Let's see. That should be about the same size there. So here we are, we're putting the gasket on now onto the bottom of it, because this has to go down to the bottom of the tank and seal the fill valve here to the toilet tank. So let's go put it in. So now we're going to insert the fill valve here, right down in there, and then we'll put the nut on from down below. And now I'm going to put the retaining nut on there. Now we're not going to go all the way tight just yet until we have everything lined up top. Okay, so now we're inserting the clip for the little hose. And we have one end of the hose we'll plug in over here. I didn't realize they had it that tight. Okay, there we go. Okay. And this is, I guess, their idea of a hose belt. It's a hose clamp. The other end of the hose we're going to plug right up top here. And the other hose clamp comes down here. Let's hope this holds better than that other white one did, because the ones that they normally give you with toilets, they keep popping off left and right. They can't handle the pressure and they just... Okay, now it turns out we can't use the flapper that came with the kit because it's too small. You see the size of this flapper here, and see how we have that large flush valve there. So we can't use that flapper, and the reason why we can't use it, as you can see, it's just way too small. It won't cover that flush valve. So we're going to stick with this one for now, and if we need another one, and I kind of remembered from past experience dealing with Elger, they sort of require their own that we special order. Okay, so you'll notice we only hand tightened that right there. They don't want you to tighten that at all with any tool. They want you to hand tighten that nut only. So that's all we did. Okay, so this is the part here that we're going to use to mate up to the poly. So you see how that's gray there? So that end of the adapter connects up to the poly pipe there. And then the other end that's yellow there, that will connect into our copper. Now you can see there's a white stiffener in there. And that stiffener is only used for PEX. So we have to take this out. We can pull that out with a pair of snips here. So this part wasn't needed. That's only a PEX stiffener. Copper can just go straight in the middle there. Okay, so now I'm just going to ream the ends of these, both ends of this copper pipe here. That makes it smoother and it gets rid of all of the shards. And the reason why you want to do this is it keeps turbulence of the water from causing any damage inside the pipes. See, it makes it nice and smooth there. Okay, so this right here is the shark bite depth gauge, and it also does a, if you want to deburr your pipes, you stick them in here and you can deburr them as well. But what you really want to do with this is, after you're deburring it, is this tells you how deep that it has to go inside of that adapter there. So what we have to do is mark that depth right here. And if you don't do this, you run the risk of not letting the pipe penetrate to the right depth, and then your shark bite adapter won't seal properly. So we mark these little lines on there so that when we go to insert this pipe inside that adapter, we know how far to go, because we should see that line right on the edge just like this. Okay, so the copper pipe goes into this end, and we'll stick it all the way in there and do the other side, the outside. Okay, so we have it in all the way. There's our pencil line, and I think a Sharpie marker works better. They're actually a lot easier to see. Okay, as we continue to build our apparatus here, the nut goes on first with the thread side up. Next comes the ferrule. Okay, so there's the ferrule sitting down in there, and that will compress against the pipe once we put the cutoff valve on there. Okay, so here's our valve on there now, going on. And we'll tighten these with a wrench. I'll put the channel locks here, and I'll put my rigid wrench here, my one-stop wrench. And again, I love that tool here. I'll put a link to it in the description for you down below. Okay, so this is why I like this wrench, because it's specifically designed for these exact nuts right here. So I'll go ahead and tighten this, and you got to make sure it's on there real good. Just keep tightening till you can't tighten no more. Okay, so there is our newly complete water shutoff valve, and we'll just plug that right onto the poly pipe. Okay, so this is why I don't like the poly pipe too. See, look at the builders. This is why I have no respect for the builders down here. Look what they do to you when they build a house. They leave it like that, really? Didn't want to clamp it inside the wall. So we're going to have to glue the remnant when we cut off the pipe. So there it is, all glued in, and the new shutoff valve is attached. We just pushed it right onto the poly pipe. turned on the water, and the tank is starting to fill up, but we need to make sure that it fills up to the correct level and shuts off. And then we have to do a test flush. Okay, let's test it out. It's filling up nicely now. And we hope you enjoyed this video, and if you did, please give us a thumbs up below. That tells us that you like us. And don't forget to hit that subscribe button down below and click on the bell icon. That will tell you every time we get a video uploaded. And we hope you enjoyed this one, and we will see you next time.